So let's just go ahead and get into it. So there's 30 questions in total. Each slide has 4 questions. The last slide has 2. You have 1 minute per slide. Write answers on a separate sheet of paper. So in order for this to work as effectively as possible, what you should do is grab a sheet of paper and on that sheet of paper, write down the numbers 1 through 30. And each one of these, you're either going to be choosing A, B, C, or D. Don't use dictionaries. Dictionaries will give you an inaccurate result. It's almost like you're lying to yourself, and whenever you lie to yourself with test preparation, it's not good news because you might get a nasty surprise on test day. Also, don't leave any answers blank. I know it's tempting if we don't know one to just maybe skip it and never return to it, but if you are not confident in an answer, just choose one, just make a guess and move on. The sentences have no context. What that means is you cannot use other words and ideas in the sentences to guess the meanings of these words. So this is purely a vocabulary assessment. That's it. And then finally, the answers and analysis will follow the diagnostic test. So hopefully you are ready. If you don't have a pen and paper right now, go ahead and pause the video and get one, and then hit play when you are ready. Okay, let's get into it. Good luck. Okay, so that was the 30 questions. Depending on your familiarity with some of these words, that test was either pretty crazy or just more of the same of words you've already been studying. So let's go ahead and go over the answers. If you were unable to answer some of these because the YouTube moved too quickly or something like that, just go ahead and rewind the video so that you have an answer for all 30. Okay, number one, this plan is feasible. The correct answer for number one is practical. Number two, she is taciturn. Taciturn, the correct definition is quiet. He could not be placated. This comes from the root word, this comes from the idea of to placate somebody. Typically, we try to placate somebody when they're very angry. We're trying to make them less angry, make them calm down. So the correct answer is calmed. She is loquacious. Whenever somebody is loquacious, they're very talkative. They like to say a lot of words. So she is very loquacious. So number one is B, number two is B, number three is A, and number four is D. Number five, we need to disseminate this. Correct answer is we need to spread this. I live an austere life. GRE loves this word. Man, do they love this word. So austere, whenever I think of this word, I always think of like a monk. You know, those really religious people who give up all forms of pleasure. You know, they shave their head, they walk in the street with no shoes. So austere, the best answer of these four is simple. I live a simple life. Now, don't be confused with boring. Yes, it is possible if you have an austere life that your life is boring, but the definition of austere is not boring. So the best answer is simple. The class is homogeneous. Correct answer is uniform. Here's a little bit of test strategy. See how these two answers both deal with either everything the same and everything is different. They're opposites. And do you see how these two are not opposites? Right? Test strategy, it's probably A or B, because why did they give us this opposite relationship? Well, they're trying to trick us with one, right? So the correct answer is A, but really just a little bit of test strategy. If you see opposite answers, you know one of them is probably correct. Not always the case, but sometimes it works that way. That's a misnomer. Correct answer is A, inaccurate name. The trick answer right here is mistake. What they want people to do is when they don't recognize this word, they want them to go, oh yeah, misnomer, mistake. Oh yeah, it matches, right? So GRE loves to do this. They love to give you similar sounding words because people are attracted to the familiar, especially if they don't know what the word means. And of course, ETS, GRE, they know this and they take advantage of it and they punish you if you make this mistake. Okay, next one. Don't be capricious. Correct answer is don't be unpredictable. She flouted tradition. Correct answer is she went against it. Now, ignored is not a bad choice, but it's not the best choice. So if you compare went against and ignored, it's kind of like different levels. So ignore is right here, but went against is even stronger. Flout is a very strong word, so that's why B, went against, is the better answer. He's wary, he is cautious. The company was negligent. The root word here is neglect. Whenever you neglect something, you don't pay attention, so the best answer is careless. Number 13, he has a didactic style. So if you think about a didactic teacher, it's a person who always talks down to you, kind of talks to the students like they're stupid. So the best answer is condescending. Here's some more test strategy. Interactive, engaging, and student center all have the same meaning, roughly. If they all have the same meaning, well, none of these can be correct. So that's a little test strategy. Her house belies her wealth. So again, GRE loves this word. This is one of their favorite words. Whenever you have belie, it's kind of this opposite relationship. So, an example might be a homeless man is walking down the street and his clothes look very bad, but in reality, he's not homeless at all. He's actually very rich. So one sentence would be something like, his clothes belie his wealth. So the best answer here is masks. It covers, it hides. It's a cerebral movie. Whenever we think about, medical, cerebral means brain. But whenever we're talking about a movie, we mean kind of a movie that has a lot of thinking in it. It requires us to think. So the best answer is deep. My life is humdrum. My life is very boring. I don't see boring here, so the best answer is routine. I do the same thing every single day. Routine. Okay, moving on. It's a daunting task. Well, daunting is very difficult, but it's not impossible. You can still accomplish a daunting task, so it can't be this one. Correct answer is challenging. He has a quixotic nature. This comes from the book Don Quixote, or however you pronounce that stupid book. And one of the characters in this book was very idealistic by nature. So that's where this word comes from, quixotic. The color was conspicuous. Correct answer is noticeable. I'm guessing some of you guys chose the word bright, but remember, bright is not the definition of conspicuous. So yes, it's true, a conspicuous color might be bright, but that's still not the definition. The actual definition is noticeable. I'll give you another example, an easier example. If I say the rich man is happy, this is a logical sentence, but it doesn't mean that rich and happy have the same meaning. Same thing here. Yes, a conspicuous color might be bright. That might be an example of one, but the actual definition of the word conspicuous is noticeable. He is obsequious. So an obsequious person is one that always agrees with the boss, never disagrees, always tries to please the boss. The best answer is sycophantic. Okay. It's an insipid story. For this one, it's very difficult to know the meaning of this word unless you just memorize it. Insipid, in this case, means not interesting, boring, banal, trite. The best answer is dry. He was deified. He was deified. Well, to deify somebody is to treat them kind of like a god. So the best answer would be deeply respected. D also looks pretty good because of the word loved, but because of this adverb right here, conditionally means kind of like, sometimes I love you, sometimes I don't. So D is not strong enough, so that's why we eliminate it. She's congenial. Best answer is friendly. That's his proclivity. Well, whenever you have a proclivity, it is something that you often do, something that you usually do, so the correct answer is tendency. 25, he's a spendthrift. Again, this is one of those words GRE loves to put in here, and really the only way you can get the correct answer is to kind of memorize it. Whenever we think about this word thrift, only this word, it means a person who likes to save money. However, whenever you say spendthrift, it actually has the opposite meaning. It means likes to spend money. So again, ETS and the GRE test, they love to do this stuff. They love to put in these words that go against your initial guess. Miser is a person who loves to save money. Monk is a person who lives an austere life. Cynic is a person who is very pessimistic. Correct answer is prodigal. Oil abounds. Well, this adjective you're probably very familiar with. Abundant. Abound is the verb form of this adjective, so the correct answer is plentiful. He's misanthropic or misanthropic. Here you can kind of use the parts of the word to figure it out. Anthro relates to humans. Mis has a negative connotation, so this is a negative connotation. So I need some kind of idea against humans. So the best one would be antisocial. The plan was amorphous. Again, you can use prefixes here to figure this one out. Morph kind of means like shape. Has a negative effect on the sentence. So I kind of think like no shape. Well, if it has no shape, it's not very clear, so the best answer is vague. Okay, 2 more. She's puerile. You really just have to memorize this one. You notice that this is an opposite pair and this is an opposite pair. The correct answer is childish. Finally, his analysis was cursory. Well, whenever you do something cursory, you do it very quickly, you're not careful, you don't pay attention that much. So the best answer is going to be ill conducted. Okay, let's do a brief analysis. Make sure you give yourself a score out of 30. So here's our analysis. If you got 0 to 10 correct, you need to get busy. You basically need to spend a lot more time studying. Okay. If you got 11 to 15 correct, you're on the right track and you have a pretty solid foundation. If you got 16 to 23 correct, you're getting pretty close. You're almost ready to take the GRE. You're not ready yet. You still have more work to do. And also keep in mind, the vocabulary is not the only part of the GRE. You also have to consider other things. You know, you have, for example, logic, and you have to consider math, and you have to consider reading. So vocabulary is just one component of the GRE test. 24 to 28 correct, you've worked your ass off. Well done. You should feel pretty good about yourself if you got that score. And then finally, 29 and 30, I just have a question for you. Do you want to teach GRE? Because in this case, you're on the path to a very high score on the verbal. Definitely 160 plus. Okay, guys, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach me. Let me write down my email address. You can find my email address here in the bottom, gregmatttesting@gmail.com. And again, if you have any questions about the GRE or about vocabulary in general, don't hesitate to send me an email. All right, I hope to hear from you guys soon. Good luck with your GRE studies.